Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking through some Am I Overreacting? One of the posts is particularly long, so strap in and get a snack for that one. Hopefully not too long and too rambly because, yeah, editing sucks. I'm so lazy with editing. I think if I get rid of the crap top and it doesn't take so long, I think I'd actually enjoy it, So maybe one day we'll have some absolutely on point, on fire editing, but not right now. Anyway, if that sounds like something you'd enjoy listening to with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. So, first post, am I overreacting? Husband showed me this from a recently single friend of ours. Is she trying to flirt? Oh dear. I'm told that she has a history of homie hopping. I've never heard of that saying before. That's amazing. And I've known a few people like that in my lifetime. That is a great name for them. And trying to get with other non-single men. She also didn't ask me before asking him, and the hearts kinda weird me out. I've only known her for about a year, and she was at our wedding, so should I confront her or give her the benefit of the doubt? Honestly, I find it so weird when someone can look at someone who's got a partner, married, whatever, and be like, yeah, that's the one I want. I'm like, ew, no, they are immediately unattractive to me. They could be like the most physically attractive person in the world, but to me, no. Don't come near me. Don't touch me. You're just, there's all of a sudden red tape everywhere. No, don't come near me. I don't want to know. And I don't understand people who don't think like that. Let's have a look at this offending message then, shall we? It's pretty hard to see because it is a picture of a phone, so it's a bit difficult to see. So it says, you coming to Wiener Fest? I hope that is a hot dog festival and not something else. I mean, whatever floats your boat and tickles your pickle, but so then they also say, such and such is here, DTRW at 4:30. And then the husband replies, blank has to work and I got stuff going on. So then they reply, damn, next weekend then? Wish you were here, with a little heart emoji face. And then the husband replies, and the weekend after that. I think that was quite a smooth shutdown. Like, nope, we won't be hanging out this weekend, and now not the weekend after that, especially not after that message. Listen, do I think there could be a possibility that the person messaging meant I wish you were both here, like both of these people as a couple? Yeah, there is the likelihood that that's what that is, but I don't know. I think probably not. Especially if they have a history of homie hopping, which is now my new favourite phrase, by the way. Then I would say probably not. Anyway, let's have a look at what the comments say, shall we? So Pothos Lower says, sending pictures, kissy emoji, and wish you were here. Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. Like, they sent them a photo. She's flirting hardcore, and your husband is brilliant. He laughed at her picture. Wait, did he? Let me have a look. Oh my god, he did. Oh, bless him. I love the husband. He's great. He is great. Reminded her he's married, told her he's busy, and then rejected her again. And also, he didn't reply to any of her flirting attempts. Read she's invited to a party, maybe uninvite her. She's up to something. Luckily, your husband isn't in any way, and he knows she's flirting. That's why he showed you her texts. Yeah, exactly. Like, the husband was clearly uncomfortable with it, whatever her intentions were, for him to show you it and be like, is this weird? So, yeah, I do love that he came straight to you. So then Fancy Pants SF says this, she is absolutely over the line, and your husband handled it appropriately and respectfully to you. Both of you are going to have this stuff happen. If she's a newer friend, I don't think there's any reason to approach her. Just stop hanging out. Seems like she has boundary issues anyway. We then have a comment from Final Technology 104, says she's a mate poacher. There are women out there who have this validation kink where if they can get another woman's man, they think they're the one. Yeah, I know someone like this. I've spoken about this girl before that always goes for people who are in relationships, and she's a bit of a knobhead and has been with two of my exes. I was friends with her before, years ago, years ago, and yeah. She will only ever get with people, it seems, that are like in a relationship or married. It's so weird. And I mean, I'm not gonna say anything, but I don't know. Maybe it correlates to the fact she looks like a squirrel. I don't know. I've seen it many times over the years, and it happened to me. She is not your friend, and you need to block her out of your lives right the F now. She's fishing right now to see if your husband will bite. Thank God he didn't, and he's too nice to shut it down. About emojis, they are the modern day equivalent of hieroglyphics. Literally. I was actually, I had a comment the other day because I'd said something about what I thought an emoji meant, and they see it, they know it as something different, as meaning something different. And it's so interesting that depending on where you live, like the emojis seem to mean different things. And also I think about which generation you're from as well, and how old you are determines what they mean as well. It's so interesting. But yeah, it is trying to read flipping hieroglyphics these days with emojis. So half the time I'm like, I don't know how to take that. So they have meaning, context, and show the tone of a convo. Even if a text is dejected, the emojis used still show up in the first group of emojis in text, the frequently used emojis section. The fact that she used this particular emoji shows all the intent you need to know. My situation was, my friend since high school came up to Seattle from Costa Mesa, I don't know if I'm saying that right, apologies if I'm not, to stay with us for a few weeks. My husband and I were going to be staying at our home on Kauai? She somehow managed to tag along with us, and I was seeing subtle signs she was working my husband, who was in his 70s. Looks it. I look like I'm in my 30s due to genetics. So she comes with us. Her jaw dropped when she saw my home, and I could see the calculations going on in her pea brain. She wasn't even hiding it from me 2 weeks in, was rude and dismissive and working my husband and our friend's husband when she found out that he's worth over $20 million. My goodness. Does he have a rich friend? I'm joking, partly. She wasn't even hiding her machinations. And then she said something about my husband's net worth, and I said, Kathy, you mean mine? I'm the one who owns both the businesses and all the properties. If you want him, you'll be left with a broke old man to take care of. Honestly, though, sometimes I don't even think they care about whether they're broke. It's just that thing that they get off on nicking them from someone else. I then said, you need to pack up your crap right the F now and head for the airport. I don't care if you have a flight or not. You can sit on one of the benches in Liwe. That doesn't sound right. I do apologise. I have butchered every single place name in this comment. I am so sorry. Someone please tell me how to say these because it's getting embarrassing for me now. I don't care. Get the hell gone now. This was last November, and I haven't seen her since, but she knows not to say anything to our friends about me because they already know her tricks. And then friend-shaped stranger says, my older sister admitted to me that for years, like 2 decades, she played this game where if she saw a woman working with her boyfriend, husband, she would give the guy the eye to try to get his attention, even if she didn't find the guy attractive. It was just to win against the man's partner. What a friggin' weirdo. She only stopped when she got so old that it stopped working consistently. She stopped talking to me because I didn't give her enough money. That is so odd. Imagine. Like, you've got to live a sad, sad life to get a kick out of that. And then Soft Jellyfish 92 said, when I see a man look at me when he's clearly with his girlfriend, I go out of my way to give him the nastiest, most aggressive stink eye I possibly can. That's making me laugh because of something me and my friend did to a guy once. I'll tell it in a minute. Hearing there are women out there doing the opposite makes me feel like they're undoing all the good work the rest of us are doing. Screw women like that. You're not winning anything. Those men are trash. So this bloke tried chatting up me and my mate and, was trying to give it the big I am when we were on a night out. This was a few years ago. And we knew he had a missus. We knew who he was. So every time he spoke or tried to come over and say anything to us, we just heaved loudly and violently in his general direction until he got the hint and went away. It worked beautifully. Okay, last story of the day, and this is the long one, so get comfy. Am I overreacting? Got back from a stressful vacation with my wife and her family, felt like a tipping point and thinking about leaving. My goodness, that must have been a pooey holiday. So I'm not going to read the edits or the TLDR because it's going to give the whole thing away before we read it, and I don't like to do that. We will read the longer version. So, longer version. Our son is college aged and he backed out of this trip at the last second. I should have done the same. He went on vacation with them last year and had a difficult time, but my wife played up the fact that she gets so few vacation days and she wanted to spend quality time with me alone, which we haven't had a lot of, so I went. Should have listened to the boy OP, tried to warn you. Long drive, we get there. It's already a bit tense because it's a very, very full house. My wife has a lot of sisters and brothers and their significant others. I like my wife's family. Her brothers are funny and smart and nice. Her sisters are all very smart and nice as well, individually. Though she is very, very close with one of her sisters, and together it can turn into something else. Not so nice. The sister she is close with lives a block away from us and has a baby with her husband, wife's brother-in-law. My wife spends a ton of time there. Over the past few years, I've noticed the sister becoming more meddling and negative towards me. My wife doesn't see a problem with it. She thinks her sister just wants the best for her. But even my son has noted that the sister has been pretty negative towards me at times. Edit, because it was confusing, she has two sisters. The one with the baby who lives near us is closest in age. When we get there, I ask if there is a quiet corner to use as I have to teach online. This is immediately met with some consternation, especially from my wife's very corporate HR brother-in-law, the new father, who rolls his eyes. Why? My wife makes a beeline to her sister and her baby. She spends the entire day with her sister, the brother-in-law, and baby. The baby is very cute, and my wife loves being an aunt. I don't get why they'd be annoyed that you needed to go do a class online. Why? Sounds like they're just bitches. And by that, I mean the sister and the brother-in-law. I had to teach and do grading, which I was able to do in the basement thanks to one of my wife's brothers who creates a space for me to work. Super nice of him, so I made use of my time. At night, I hung out with the brothers and their girlfriends, which was fun. My wife eventually comes to bed at 2 a.m. and passes out. So much for spending time together, hey? The rental is a beautiful house with stunning views. It's incredibly generous to be invited by the parents. It's also very remote, not exactly walkable. To add to that, my wife's brother-in-law kept parking his way too big SUV in the bottom of the driveway in such a way that no one can get out without him first making a big deal of having to move it. Yeah, he sounds like a bellend. And every time he moves it, he parks it right back in the same position. I used to like the brother-in-law a lot before this trip. The brother-in-law is a nice, good-looking, very well-dressed guy who comes from a well-to-do family and makes good money. I was really happy when they, the brother-in-law and sister, first got together. I was hoping he'd become a friend. He makes a good impression and I liked him when I initially met him, though efforts to try to get to know him better or befriend him have stalled. He's uninterested in having any conversations. He seemed uninterested, responded with a one-word mumble, and then goes back to preening in the middle of the room. Yeah, definitely a bellend. Oh my goodness. Sounds like he needs to remove his own head from between his cheeks. And I don't mean the ones on his head. Edit. To be fair, they are new parents, so it comes with the territory. What, being a bellend and a prick? No, it doesn't. You can still be a nice person when you have kids. Probably have a little less time, yes, but it doesn't mean you have to be an entitled prick. When you're a new parent, you're the centre of the world in a way. Also, I'm probably projecting. They were cold to me because they were on my wife's side, which is whatever. The days went on like that. At no point did I spend any time with my wife, not even at dinner, where she sat next to the baby, the brother in law, and the sister, of course. And again, the baby is really cute. I get it. I did make attempts, but they were ignored. Fine, it's her vacation, it's yours too, or you wouldn't be there, mate. You're being far too forgiving. I felt duped for coming, but she deserves to spend her vacation her way. Also, I do recognise that it's awesome that she is so close to her sister and her husband and baby, and I had grading to do, so I'd keep myself busy. That night, my wife's brothers and I were watching TV in the basement while my wife and the sister and brother-in-law were all upstairs. I get talking to one of my brother's girlfriends, who is very astute, and she picks up on the tension. This is her first time meeting everyone, and she artfully points out, I can't remember her exact phrasing, that the sisters and brother-in-law come across as cold and self-absorbed. I mentioned that the new parents are often in their own world for obvious reasons. The baby has to be the centre of that universe, but she's like, sure. She mentions that she has a lot of brothers and sisters too, but they almost go out of their way to be closed off and cliquish, and was worried that they didn't like her. Yet see, they sound like that too. It sounds like they're literally like, we have a little group and you can't sit with us. Okay. I assured her that that wasn't the case. That's how they are, and they are all circling wagons around the sister's baby, so to speak. We continue to talk, and somehow the topic of my wife calling the shots comes up. Kind of an ongoing joke. The brothers like to tease me. I've been in the family for 20 plus years, and I really like the brothers. I joke that I suffer from a lot of analysis paralysis, so my wife making the decisions for us, like where we live, how we spend our time, what we eat, etc., is really helpful for me. Have you had an original thought, OP? I would like to know. Bless you. It sounds like the OP's just been put sternly in their place and is too scared to remove themselves from it. The girlfriend jokes, yeah, she definitely has a tyrannical streak. That says a lot, doesn't it? The brothers laugh. I was kind of struck by this, because it's kind of true. Wife eventually comes to bed after I've fallen asleep several hours later. Yeah, so I'm guessing that the wife and the sister are the only ones in the family that are quite bratty like that. And yeah, everyone else is like, please, OP, please stick up for yourself, we beg you. Last day, the next morning, the brothers leave right after breakfast. My wife and I had agreed to leave on Friday as I had to get back. I start packing up and my wife freaks out. She decided we should stay another day. I explain I can't, but I can leave later in the day as I told her parents I would go for a bike ride with them. She gets really angry and calls me selfish and tells me that she has so few vacation days and she should get to say when we go back. To that, I say she can take the car as she'll drive me to a train station later, or she can go home with her parents or sister. They'll all be going to the same place. She tries to keep the argument going, but I walk away and ignore. This pisses her off, I bet it does. She starts following me around the house, yelling at me, calling me selfish, telling me it's her vacation and she makes more money than I do, and that she'll never have S with me again. At this point, I feel like I'm starting to have a panic attack. I wanted to leave on the spot. Her brother and sister-in-law then comfort her and console her and offer to take her back Sunday. As I mentioned, they live in our same neighbourhood. So at that point, the yelling is over and she goes back to ignoring me and hanging out with them. But I'm still anxious and feel kind of humiliated. Then the brother-in-law took her to the beach in the SUV. Yet why are you all the kicking off? She could literally go home with anyone else. You live in the same area. Like, I'd just be like, okay, that's cool. If you need to go now, do you mind if I stay? And I'll come home with my sister. Is that so hard? I calm down, and as promised, I go on a really nice bike ride with her parents, which actually was great and calmed me down a great deal. I get back and say my goodbyes. The parents hug me goodbye. My wife and her sister and brother-in-law are doing their own thing again and ignore me, so I just left. I got stuck in a ton of traffic on the way back and had a lot of time to think. I ruminated over the argument, which is very one-sided, basically me just getting yelled at in front of everyone for no reason as well. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to feel bad for being a teacher. Our son is in college. I don't need this. This felt like a tipping point to me. No marriage is perfect, and we've had our issues in the past, including issues caused by her sister's meddling. What a surprise. But this trip kind of solidified we're headed towards different futures. I don't want to be treated like a chauffeur or a doormat. I went on this trip, even though it didn't fit in with my work schedule, because she implored me to go and claimed that she wanted to spend some quality time together. And now I realise I was just a convenient driver when I tried to stick to my own schedule. The hammer came down. I love my wife, and I am still in love with her. I really struggle to see why. I have zero interest in dating anyone or even getting divorced, but I don't like who she is around these people, and I don't want to orient my life around them. I would never tell her not to spend time with her sister or brother-in-law, and it's awesome she loves being an aunt. I'm considering moving out. Of course, money is a factor and I can't afford much right now. I'm researching rooms to rent in shared apartments about an hour away, which would be about what I could afford while also paying my half of our current place. I'm also considering filing a separation agreement. I don't want to get divorced, but I think some space would be healthy. Am I overreacting? Nope, absolutely not. Edit. Thank you all for the helpful comments. Small update in the comments. Edit. I have been asked to put the latest update in the post instead of the comments, so here it is. Sorry it's so long. Thank you to everyone who has commented with advice, tough love and support. I got some sleep last night. Writing this out and responding to a lot of your comments has been really cathartic, and many of the comments have observed pointed things out that I didn't previously comprehend. I also really appreciate the empathy and understanding and your own perspectives. I wanted to respond to some questions and comments generally, so one-sided. A number of commenters have pointed out that I'm being way too one-sided. True. If I'm honest with myself, a lot of their complaints about me are legitimate. I'm very messy, disorganised. Without doxing myself too much, I'm what the kids call neurodivergent, and I have a bad anxiety condition. Part of the root of my anxiety relates back to an illness I had many years ago before I met my wife. I almost died, and definitely still have some PTSD. This anxiety has definitely contributed to my inability to make decisions, analysis paralysis, and other regrettable habits and traits. I also have student debt. One of my great regrets. I don't make a lot of money as a teacher. I'm not blameless here. What I'm hearing is the things that you've said are not things that you've done and make you a bad person. Being neurodivergent and struggling with things and having anxiety does not mean that you are bad and that you are an issue. And it sounds like you recognise those things and are trying to make it better. It's not like you're just sitting back and being like, yeah, these are a problem, they're causing issues for other people and I'm doing nothing about it. And having student debt, yeah, a lot of people have that. It unfortunately is the way the system's set up. Baby fever. A number of you have insightfully pointed out that she has baby fever, which is amplified by the emptiness of our son moving out. She loves being an aunt. I also think she is angry at me and resentful for us not having another baby. Without getting into it, we had a couple of miscarriages that were tough on her years ago, not recent, and I wasn't as supportive emotionally as I should have been. I always thought we would have had another, but after the last miscarriage, she was done trying. At least with me. She has said in the past arguments that if I had been more financially responsible, we would have had another child. I will always feel awful about that. Must have done something for them to hate me. A few of you have accused me of covering up or neglecting to include whatever it is I did to make them, my wife and her family, hate me. Hate is a strong word. I think resentment, dislike is more accurate. I also don't think her entire family dislikes me. I really like her brothers and her younger sister, and I don't think they dislike me. I think her dad also likes me as a person, but believes I'm unsuccessful. More on this below. My wife's sister and mother-in-law and brother-in-law are the only ones that actively dislike me, but I think that's mostly because of what my wife has told them about me. Yeah, and I'm not being funny. One of the brothers' girlfriends also said that they were being crappy to her as well, so I don't see why people would assume automatically that OP must have done something wrong. People can just be crap. And the fact that the OP not earning enough money keeps getting brought up is infuriating to me, because anyone who sets someone's worth off of how much money they make is a disgusting person, in my opinion. I mentioned part of the reason my son didn't want to go on this vacation is that he had a bad experience on a vacation with them in the past that I did not go on. One of the things is that my wife's sister and mother-in-law made jokes about me being unsuccessful. They also made comments to my son as he was looking ahead to college that he needs to be strategic about his major because he doesn't want to wind up like me. My son got upset at that and had an argument with them. Yeah, they seem so stuck up. Her sister and mother-in-law have also made comments, sometimes even in front of me or my son, about how guys my wife knew in high school, including one ex-boyfriend, who were doing so well financially. A couple years ago, the mum was drinking and made a comment over Christmas, "Imagine if you had married X instead." I think in their family, they are really only two suitable career paths, something high paying and corporate, like finance, corporate, HR or leadership, etc., and lawyer. More accurately, and others have pointed this out, deep down she wants what her sister has, a baby and a husband more like brother-in-law, financially successful, organised, corporate, etc. My guess is this is exactly what is going to happen. Maybe there's already some kind of emotional affair with someone already happening. I don't know. I don't check her phone or anything like that. Leave now. Divorce now. Many of you are telling me to leave right now and file for divorce, and many of you have rightly pointed out I'm clueless about this stuff, divorce, etc. If she wants a divorce, I want to make it as painless as possible for myself, my son, and her. I don't care if I lose the divorce. All I have is my salary, my pension, and student debt. Most importantly, I have a good relationship with my son, and I love my cat. Okay, now, how can a guy who loves his cat be a bad guy? Come on now. If the price for being amicable is she gets half of all my crap, and I have to live with a roommate, fine. I would much rather lose the divorce and stay on good terms with the love of my life and the mother of my son, finding another partner. I am really happy to read all of the responses from people who went through similar things, who have found loving partnerships on the other side. That's awesome. However, this is not on my radar, and it's not a goal. I'm not trying to find anyone. I am not hoping to date anyone. I am not going to date, and I have absolutely no interest in dating. I'm never ever getting any of those apps, lol. I know that my wife is the love of my life. I've been with her for over 23 years, married for over 20. She is beautiful, she is amazing and successful, and she was my one. We've had a lot of happiness over the last 20 years, and while I'm really sad about what's going on now, I know I've been really lucky too. Yes, I know the romantic partnership is over, and yes, I know she doesn't respect me right now. I know what I have to do, or to take steps to do, but I hope on the other side of this we can remain friends at minimum. I have absolutely no interest in pursuing any other romantic relationship. This was my one and only marriage. So down in the comments, Abroad That Travels says, like you mentioned, it seems like this is a culmination of many things leading to this tipping point. This single event may not be such a big deal as a standalone, but in addition to other things that you're feeling, it can feel much bigger. I think your feelings are valid. I also think being around family for an extended period of time brings out some of the best and worst of us. People regress back to their childish states and take on different roles in those environments. I definitely don't think it's cool that you were guilted into going on the trip only to be ignored and then guilted for leaving at the end upon date time. I would be upset too. Your wife put you in a difficult spot in front of the family and used that to her advantage. Maybe there is something going on deeper under the surface to explain why she would act such a way. I definitely think this deserves a conversation. You explained your feelings pretty well here. Maybe you could write her a letter if you're having trouble communicating. Good luck. And then Naza Swahaz, I think. Yeah, writing is a good way to express your feelings. You can edit to make understanding easier. Plus, you won't be interrupted mid-sentence. I'd try that first. Yeah, that's a good point actually, because trying to tell her no on something clearly doesn't go very well because she storms off like a petulant child. So then we have a little update. I wanted to write a quick update and respond to some of the frequent questions, comments I'm seeing. First, thank you for all the comments, though some are difficult for me to read. A lot of you are telling me to lawyer up immediately and pointing out my marriage is already over. That may be true, but I'm not ready for that reality just yet. I need to have the talk with her and see if counselling is an option. I also feel like I have a lot to process. I need some space and some therapy for sure, but I'm not ready to go full divorce. Still, I appreciate the comments and advice and stories from those of you who have made it to the other side intact. I also don't have any interest in soaking her financially. I don't care that she has more money than me. If anything, good. Let's just make this easy and clean. I've seen so many divorces where people are just out to punish each other, and I don't want that. Unless she's having an affair, in which case I will lawyer up. As for the just leave, I get it, I do, but I don't want my son's last week at home before school to be a big fight, and I don't have a place to go to, other than a friend for a night or two. It will take me a little while to find a room to rent within my budget while still paying my half of the rent. I also love my cat. Someone asked if she texted or called to see if I got home safe. She did not. Shocker. Neither did her sisters, but her brothers and brother-in-law did. Points for them. I think the echo chamber between her and her sister, and I guess the brother-in-law, of what a huge loser I am, is probably deafening right now, so I don't expect a call or a text from her. This come up a lot in the comments, but I don't think she is having an affair with the brother-in-law. I did have that thought, you know. It did cross my mind, but I knew that it was probably ridiculous, so I didn't mention it. But in the back of my mind, when I was reading it, a little bit of my brain was going, is she shagging the brother-in-law? She is very, very close with her sister, and I don't think she would do that. She is closer to the brother-in-law than I previously realised. Her sister, and the brother-in-law spent all their time together, and none of them spent any time with me. So they definitely have a clique, but I think it's more that she's very helpful with the baby. She loves being an aunt, and in return, they affirm to her how much better she is than I am. As some have pointed out, I think she probably does want someone more like brother-in-law. However, it's a hard pill to swallow because my values are completely different. Her family has a very different ethic and view on work and money than mine. I didn't quite realise that until the last few years, but I think they view teaching as underemployment and the man's role as making as much money as possible. In that regard, I have failed as a husband. She's brought up the money thing that she makes more than me a lot over the last few years. I guess I'm an idiot because I didn't quite realise how deep that ran. Related to this, a few pointed out that once we separate, her sister is going to set her up with someone like the brother-in-law. Or maybe that's already happened. That hurts to read, but if that's what she wants, there's nothing I can do about that but move forward with my own life. So then down in the comments replying to that update, Glumluck2839 says, "Hey man, I know you aren't ready for a lot of this stuff, but you need to become ready. You are too nice of a guy and you are setting yourself up to be humiliated further. Decide what you want in your life now. Do you want to be walked over forever? Talked down upon? Or worse, be the side bitch on a break while she finds a new man? From what you have said, you don't want this, but you're afraid to leave for a variety of reasons. Your son, finances, guilt. You need to listen to other people's opinions and get outside of your own perspective for a change. I have respect for you, and I see a lot of myself in your post. I am also too nice a lot of the time, and let others belittle me for making less money, etc. But there's a reason why they say nice guys place last, and there's a reason why all of the a-holes are successful, because there's a time and a place for it. Now it's your time, OP. I really hope he leaves and finds happiness, because my goodness, does he deserve it. The wife, the sister, the brother-in-law sound insufferable. So insufferable and stuck up and elitist. Anyway, if you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, I'll appreciate you even more. And that is your initiation into the Cult of Void. Welcome! Whatever it is you're doing today, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye!